You know, the big problem with politics today is money in politics, right? So what does that mean? That means that corporations that want to do horrible shit to you or the environment by the politicians that are supposed to stand in their way and represent you. So they give them money, and then when they get the money from the corporation, the politician then rules in favor of the money and screws over their voter. It's the politicians are responsive to their donors. They're not responsive to their voters. And that's why people who are voting for Bernie Sanders are incensed that people think we should vote for Hillary Clinton. She's part of the problem. She's the poster child for what's wrong with politics today, right? So that's not going to happen. But here someone asks Hillary Clinton about if she will make a pledge to not take money from the fossil fuel industry. And Hillary Clinton... you know what? She's upset with Bernie Sanders' tone. And I think right here, she sets the tone. Like, she'll show you, this is how you should handle something in a nice tone. Here we go. Someone asks, watch the girl asks her, watch, here we go. She puts her finger right in the girl's. I am so sick. But she's upset about Bernie Sanders' tone. I don't know if you heard that. She called Bernie Sanders, I'm so sick of Bernie Sanders lying about my record.
The Clintons are experts with fake outrage.
That's pretend outrage. That's, methinks thou protest too much. Really? The poster child for taking money from politics, the poster child for taking money in politics is upset that someone's asking her to make a pledge to not take money from the fossil fuel industry? By the way, according to Vice, she's taken $3.5 million from people from the fossil fuel industry, her super PAC or her.
And she wanted you to know that she wanted you to know that from people who work for the fossil fuel. She made sure to immediately distance herself from it. I can't control what people do with their money, as if it has no impact on her, on the way she's going to legislate or operate.
Well, she's going to make a fracking good candidate.
It's 7 o'clock.
And it is 7 o'clock.
You know, I hear her fossil fuel advisor is Ethel. That's an old reference.
How can anyone say Hillary Clinton won't get money out of politics? She's gotten so much money out of politics already.
Boom.
Switcherooski.
What do you think? What made her mad, though? Like, why did she kind of blew up? Because she's so composed,
what do you think, Hank?
generally.
Because she's taking money from the fossil fuel industry. That's what that is. She's upset. Why are you calling me on my shit? That's when someone overreacts.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, she's used to having a composed answer. She's used to kind of being called out. Not that she's exposed much to that, but she knows losing her cool is going to make news, is what I'm saying. Like,
she should know. I think that was her coming out. I think that's now you know what Bill's been living with. Hey, she's honest. Hillary Clinton, she's honest, she's consistent, she's brave, and she's getting irritable.
Yeah. Well, and also because it wasn't a reporter, it was just like a regular person asking her. That's an
environmentalist asking her about that.
Right.
And if she thinks that scolding environmentalists is not going to backfire, Hillary Clinton is a fossil fool.
Fossil fuel.
Fossil fool. But seriously, Bernie Sanders needs to tone it down with his pesky political integrity. Am I right? You know, it's estimated that the fossil fuel interests have pumped $3.5 million into Hillary's campaign and her super PACs. With that much combustibles, something is bound to explode. Turns out it was Hillary. Here's some more stuff. This is from the Huffington Post. Huffington Post last year wrote an article about her taking money from the fossil fuel people. And they say it like this. They say Hillary Clinton is getting a lot of money from fossil fuel executives and lobbyists acting as bundlers. So there'll be an executive for Exxon, for instance, and he'll go to all his other buddies at Exxon and say, I need you to give me campaign contributions for Hillary Clinton. That means he's a bundler. So he's going to take a lot of money from a lot of people, and he's going to give it to her super PAC. That's called a bundler, right? So a lot of her bundlers work for the fossil fuel industry or are lobbyists for the fossil fuel industry, right? She also has lobbyist bundlers who represent other environmentally challenged corporations like Monsanto. So all the people that Democrats and liberals and progressives are supposed to be fighting against, right? Monsanto and the fossil fuel industry, all the things that environmentalists, she's in bed with them. She has those people working for her, bundling money from other fossil fuel people to give her money. And then she wags her finger in that young lady's face who asks her an honest question. Me think you protest too much. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. I want Bernie Sanders to stop lying about my record.
Well, to be fair, Hillary said she would tell how much money she's gotten from the fossil fuel industry as soon as Sanders releases how many free Coca-Cola glasses he's gotten from the neighborhood Shell station.
You know, Hillary, when you point the finger at someone else, you have 3.5 million fingers pointing back at you. That's according to Vice. That's how much money. Nancy Reagan's ghost thanks Hillary Clinton for starting a conversation about money corrupting politics. So let's go. There's a little bit more to this. Like for instance, Brian Wolf, he's the executive vice president at Edison Electric Institute. That's a utility company trade association. They came up with $26,600. The Edison Electric Institute opposes and lobbies against the EPA's Clean Power Plan to limit CO2 emissions from power plants. That's the centerpiece of President Obama's climate action plan. The power plant regulations are essential for the U.S. to meet its emission reduction targets under the Copenhagen Accord and to live up to the promises it is laying out in advance of the UN negotiations. So this was written last year before the Paris negotiations. Mm-hmm. And so she's in bed with these people. Brian Wolf, executive vice president of this big organization that opposes that stuff, is bundling money for her and giving it to her. All right, not good. Here's another one. Scott Parvin and Brian Pomper, lobbyists at the Aiken, Gump, Strauss, Hauer, and Feld. They have been registered to lobby for the Southern California-based oil giant Chevron since 2006, with contracts totaling more than $3 million. Those two people, Scott Parvin and Brian Pomper, those two bundled Clinton contributions of $24,000 and $29,000 respectively. They have helped Chevron over the years resist efforts to eliminate oil and gas tax breaks and to impose regulations to reduce carbon emissions. And hang on one second. Those two Clinton bundlers were part of the much criticized campaign by Chevron to manipulate Congress into inserting language into the Andean Trade Preferences Act that would require Ecuador to dismiss a longstanding lawsuit against the company Chevron for polluting the Amazon jungle. Democratic lawmakers push back against the campaign, and the lawsuit is continuing. So these are the people who are bundling money for Hillary Clinton. People who are poisoning the Amazon, representing Chevron against the indigenous people of the Amazon after they oil spilled. So these are the people who are bundling money for her. I don't want to go on. I won't go on. There's more because there's more. I have a lot more. I'm not going to go into it. Blah, blah. But here's one of her bundlers. Bundler Gordon Giffen is a former lobbyist for TransCanada, the company working to build the Keystone XL pipeline. He sits on the board of the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, an investor in the pipeline. So the bank is an investment in the pipeline, and that bank paid Hillary Clinton $990,000 for speeches in the months leading up to her presidential announcement. Another Canadian financial institution with interest in Keystone XL, the TD Bank, paid her $651,000 for speaking engagements.
Don't you think it's ironic that Sanders, somebody who looks like your disheveled Uncle Herbert, has better optics?
Has better optics.
Than
Yes.
The Clintons do.
Wait, are you implying that these people are raising all this money and giving it to Hillary Clinton because they want something from her?
What would they possibly want?
It's fun.
It's fun. It's just goofing.
It's fun to give a lady $600,000 to talk.
It's just
You know
goofing.
what?
Yeah.
You men are all talking as if all politicians aren't accepting this kind of influence.
Well, there's a guy named Bernie Sanders who isn't.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't have a super PAC.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders does not have a super PAC.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that Bernie Sanders didn't accept speaking fees from banks?
He
and
doesn't
Wall Street?
speak. He doesn't go and gives private speeches to banks.
He gave a speech to these companies for $27.
$27.
Speech? No, obviously not.
27, which is also a Bernie Sanders Social Security number. He's old. He's old.
He's old.
So how does Hillary Clinton, after she won't debate Bernie Sanders because of his tone, what does she say when someone throws this stuff back in her face? All the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars she's taken from fossil fuel industry people. What does she say when she's asked about it by an environmentalist?
I do not. I have money from people who work for fossil fuel companies. I am so sick. I am so sick of the Sanders campaign lying about me. I'm sick of it. I agree with you, Sanders, on the fossil.
To be fair, with all her Mideast interventionism on behalf of oil companies, she's earned a few campaign contributions. Like Libya. Hillary gets money from climate changers, and Bernie gets money from game changers. So anyway, I just wanted to play that because we're talking about the tone in this campaign. We're talking about the tone. Methinks thou protest too much, you corporate stooge.